Yo guys, it's Slyroh. You already know that today I'm bringing you guys a little bit of a special video as I am going to be ranking every character from Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc from worst to best. I just recently finished playing the game for the first time and I thought that this would be a really cool way to separate the end of the first game from the beginning of the second game. Of course, this video is going to have spoilers for the first Danganronpa game, so if you have not played it, I highly recommend doing so, or you can watch my playthrough, read a wiki, whatever floats your boat, but this is going to have full spoilers for the first game, but only the first game, because I have not played any other Danganronpa game at this point, so this is legitimately my current opinions of these characters. Maybe that'll change around if they show up in future games, but I don't know that yet, so these are my raw feelings of the characters. I thought this would be sort of fun, as during my playthrough I was recommended multiple times that I should look up the characters' free time events. And while I thought it was cool that I could go and look up the free time events on my own, just watching them and not sharing any opinions about them would be a little bit boring. So, using the knowledge of every free time event in the game, as well as just my personal experience playing through the game, is what I'm going to be using to rank these characters. They're only going to be ranked just by how I feel about them and their personalities. And yeah, I don't think there's any like poorly written characters. I think every single character has something that they can offer to anybody playing the game, and this is just how I personally relate to all of them. So I think I got most of the things out of the way. If you don't like my opinions, rate as many hate comments as you can in the comment section below, because that's pretty good for the algorithm. So go wild. I don't really care. But other than that, let's talk about some Danganronpa 1 characters. So this shouldn't really be surprising to anybody who watched me play through the game. But my number 16 character is going to be Toko, the ultimate writing prodigy herself. Yeah, Toko is, I mean, she's kind of annoying. She has, clearly she has, you know, some trauma in her background and her backstory. And while I do feel for her, and I do feel bad for her, that doesn't really make her fun to be around. I mean, her shtick of just being obsessed with, like, Byakuya and all that stuff was just, I don't know, it made my skin crawl a little bit. It's just a little bit much. I understand that she, you know, there's a lot to her, but I just don't really care for her that much. That being said, who I do love is Genocide Jack, and if Genocide Jack was her own character that was just submitted to the school as like the ultimate serial killer, honestly she could be a top like 10 character. And that's just how much the Toko drags it down, because I factor that in, and Toko still comes in last. I just don't like being around her. I think maybe if she was killed off earlier in the game, maybe there would be more of a like sympathy of like, oh, she could have been good. But I don't know. I watched her whole thing like play out, and she doesn't really, you know, I like rooting for characters that have like, you know, baggage and trauma and stuff, and then like moving past it, and it doesn't really seem like she ever kind of moves past it. So I don't know. Not really my favorite character. I hope that's not too much of a hot take, but hey, it is what it is. Moving on to another character that isn't that much fun to be around, my number 15 is going to be Hifumi. For kind of similar reasons, he's just not really that fun to be around. He has his shtick of being super into 2D girls and all that stuff, and he kind of lives a little bit in a delusional world himself sometimes, where, you know, he kind of obsesses over things that aren't real, and again, like, to an extent, like, I understand where he comes from, and, like, why he is the way he is, and some of his things are pretty funny. I actually did really like his free time event where he just freaked out about not having Diet Coke, which, I mean, I don't really care that much about Diet Coke, but honestly, like, if you put me into Hope's Peak Academy and you don't give me like Taco Bell for like 3 weeks, like, I'd probably start freaking out too. Like, I get it, I've been there, my dude. And this is actually another one where I wonder if Toko had like died around this part of the game and if Hifumi would have made it to the end, I wonder if I would have switched it, because, you know, you don't have to deal with Hifumi's, you know, shtick, I don't know, for like the entire game. You know, he dies like halfway through, and then you just don't have to deal with it. So maybe that's the only reason that puts him above Toko for me, because I wonder if I would have found him more annoying if he had been around longer, because I was thinking it back to just his like real obsession with alter ego, like right at the end there, and I'm just like, he's gotten so far gone, and then he, like, the way he was like talking to Celeste as well, it's just like, I don't know, he's just so something that I can't relate to that much. I don't know, there's definitely some things there, but, you know, because I can feel for like the outcast type, the socially awkward, like not really good at relating to other people like that. I get it, I relate to it, but that still doesn't make him to be that much fun to be around. So he's going to end up here at what I would call the bottom tier of characters. So while I was looking up all the free time events for these characters and whatnot, I did get a little curious, and I watched some videos to get a sense as to what the general consensus of a lot of these characters are, and this one kind of surprised me as to how high he ends up a lot. But my number 14 character is Mukuro, the protagonist, and for me, I think Toko and Hifumi are like, I don't like them. Makoto's just very neutral. His personality is literally just boring, average. They can't give him a lot of like major personality traits because he's the protagonist and he's supposed to be someone that a player playing the game can just sort of relate to, or at least not. You don't want the protagonist to have like a personality quirk that would be opposite to what the player has. That's what it seemed like they were going for anyway. Where it's just like, oh, he just likes whatever. He likes movies and TV and video games. He doesn't like any of them specifically, but he'll mention them. Like it's hard to really see Makoto as his own character. He doesn't really get his own depth. Like obviously he has like a family and stuff that he like wants to see to get out, but it's so different because all these other characters you see throughout the game, you learn about them. There's more of a mystery. They usually have some sort of specific quirk. Makoto to me is just generic protagonist. And I don't know. So he doesn't really do it for me. I don't dislike him at all. There's not really anything that he does, because he just kind of does what you expect a protagonist of a video game to do. For me, Makoto acts as like the baseline. As everyone below Makoto, I don't like. Everyone above Makoto, I think there is something good there that I do like. And that just goes to show how many good characters there are in Danganronpa. Moving right along to my number 13. This was a little weird one to figure out what to do with, but my number 13 is Mukuro. Obviously, she's not really around that much, but I did count the fake Junko at the start of the game as Mukuro, because that is Mukuro, and even if she's pretending to be another person, I do think that in her free time events, there seems to be some sort of personalized things. Like, she had, like, her backstory of being homeless. I also wonder if, even if it's not for the fashionista angle, I do wonder if there's a part of her that wants people to treat her as like a normal girl, because if she was raised as like the ultimate soldier, she probably didn't get that like either. So even if she's pretending to be another person, she does still seem to insert some of her own personality traits and quirks and backstory hints into those conversations. And also just, I mean, her existence is pretty neat, like just being revealed as like the 16th student and then revealed as like, oh, she's actually also been dead the whole time. I don't know, it's pretty cool. I didn't put too much emphasis on what their role in the story was, unless it was connected to their personality. But I think it was pretty neat, and I think there's, it was neat finding out about her and like her, soldier background and all that fun stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. Obviously, you learn a lot more about a lot of the other characters, but I thought she was pretty cool for what she did. So that's why I stuck her here instead of way lower or way higher. Moving on to number 12 is actually the character that has my absolute favorite design in the entire game. It is Leon Kuwata, the ultimate baseball star that doesn't like baseball because he wants to be a musician so he can pick up chicks, but then actually he kind of misses baseball, wants to play it again. Honestly, I liked Leon a lot. But after going back and like actually seeing his free time events, he kind of just seems like a douche. Like, not gonna lie, he's the type of dude that he's like, oh, I just want to impress girls. Like, oh, look at that hot girl there. Oh, all I want to do is talk about girls, which is like not something I'm into. He's not like super problematic about it, that from what I can tell. It's just not something that I related to that much. And he's just kind of the type of person that like in real life I would not really associate myself with. But he does have a really cool design. And I thought it was kind of interesting, he has all this talent to play baseball, he's really good at it, but then he doesn't really want that. But maybe he did. Maybe if he lasted longer in the game, we would find out he would be able to finish a story arc and really decide on what he wants to do, and not wanting to become something else just to impress other people, and instead having the confidence to be something on his own. Maybe if he was able to get like a finished character arc, he could be even higher on the list. But I thought his personality is cool, his design is cool, and I like him enough to put him this high. And in a similar vein, my number 11 is going to be Mondo, the ultimate biker gang leader. He is cool, but again, he's similar in the fact that he has this whole like tough guy thing. Like he's got to be big and I want to fight people and yell. And I don't know. It's just not the type of character that I gravitate towards a lot. Obviously, he's a little bit of a softie underneath that tough exterior, and he does seem to genuinely care about like other people and dogs. He loves dogs, obviously. I really did enjoy his free time events with talking about his dog, even though I'm not a dog person, so I think maybe he wouldn't have liked me because I like cats more. It's just me. I thought it was kind of, funny / sad. I could feel for him that he just kind of yells when he gets nervous, and so he has trouble with the ladies and whatnot because he scares them away, which, I mean, yeah, if you're yelling at everybody. And then he also had his sort of, like, what am I going to do in the future if he graduates high school and he doesn't have this biker gang, like, with him. That's, like, his entire life. If he doesn't have that, what does he do? So I thought he raised a lot of interesting, personal questions for himself. He didn't really get to finish out figuring out what he wants to do with his future, or, changing anything about his personality to settle down with somebody. Which is unfortunate. I think they're, finishing out that arc, he could have been even higher. But he doesn't have the personality type that speaks right to me. But he did have a lot of good things going for him. It was nice that he was helping Chihiro out, get strength, be stronger. And I've kind of felt for him that he, was kind of seeing his own lack of strength as a result, which, then made him kill, which, not a great personality trait, killing, but if I was going to go by that logic, I'd have to say that I don't like most of the characters in this game, because, well, I guess what, like 5, 6, I don't know, there's a lot of people that kill, or attempt to kill, or have no problem killing, so, whatever, that's not really much of a thing, but yeah, I think this is a decent spot for Mondo here for me. And now we reach the top 10, and starting off at number 10 is going to be Taka Ichimaru. I was actually ready to say that I don't like Taka that much at all. I'm not generally a fan of the characters that are super play by the rules and has to yell at everybody else about following the rules to a T. We have to be here at this time sharp. We need to follow every single rule, and like that's his entire personality. He even in I think it was the first free time event where he talks to Mukuro, he's just like he can't make friends because he's literally so obsessed with just like following the rules all the time and studying and not giving himself time to do like literally anything else. And I'm just like, I don't really like that character like that. And I was ready to put him so much lower. But then his backstory of his grandpa was like born like a genius or whatever, and then kind of let it get to his head, resulted in kind of sort of a downfall, and then didn't have anyone there like at his funeral like celebrating his life or anything. And I really appreciate seeing Taka just wanting to work hard to the point that he can become better than anybody who's just like a genius or like given natural ability, intelligence, whatever. The fact that he has that drive to just work hard as that result, that one actually really got me, and I think single-handedly pushed him up like 2 to 3 spots on this list. I think he is pretty interesting. He also has a sort of interesting turn once Mondo goes. I feel like it's kind of annoying, but it's also hilarious at the same time. I really had a lot of fun with him in his last couple days before he died, and I think he lasted for just the right amount of time. I'm not sure what more they could have done if he went even further. I don't know that he would have been that great of an addition to the survivors at the end. So I think he actually kind of played his role perfectly. And yeah, so surprisingly he jumped a lot with the free time events. They really do matter, and can definitely change my opinion on certain characters. But I thought he was a lot better than I initially gave him credit for. So congrats to Taka. He started off the top 10. But speaking of characters that did make it to the end, let's talk about Hiro at number 9, which I am kind of getting a hard read. I feel like maybe a lot of the fan base doesn't really like him. And, I mean, fair, like, he's stupid. He's really, really stupid. He's also, like, kind of selfish and, like, a con man in the fact of all of his clairvoyant stuff and trying to rip Makoto of, like, all this money. And then, the final one, he was just like, Makoto, I need you to donate an organ, and then gets mad when Makoto doesn't want to do that. And then also gets mad when he's like, well, Hiro, why don't you sell these artifacts that you have that are also probably fake. I think there is probably a lot of hypocrisy to Hiro's character, but I just don't find him that annoying. Like, you never know what he's going to say. You know that he's going to be stupid, and sometimes him saying something stupid is just like the right thing that you need in that moment to cause a little bit of levity. because I don't know, you can't take him seriously that much. You know, he says dumb stuff, but I don't know, I can't stay that mad at him. So he made, you know, the end of the game. I prefer him to some of the other characters that could have been way more annoying at the end. He's just there. Don't take him too seriously. He's a goofball, and yeah, I kind of like him for that. Now this surprised me a little bit, as number 8 is actually Hina, and if you watch me play through the game, there was a lot of times that I complained about Hina as a character. There was a lot of times where she would just be useless. She tried to avoid helping out the investigation at every chance possible. Anytime that one person was accused, she would be the one that would be like, oh, we know who did it, we gotta vote him out. Not ever thinking about the consequences of if you get it wrong, then you die. And that, you know, she was also sabotaging one of the trials to try and get everyone voted off. Which, I mean, I understood, but there was just a lot of things that I got mad at her for. But at the same time, I don't know, you just, like, look at her face and you can't stay mad at her, you know what I mean? She loves donuts, and, like, relatable. I love donuts. What did she say? Like, donuts is, like, the essence of the universe or something like that? Like, I get that. She also had a really good free time event, where she just likes to do things and just likes the drive of like, competing and being the best at something, and she just wants to, you know, be the best at, or everything, or maybe not even be the best, but just, like, compete in, like, as many things as possible. She's just really fun to root for as, someone who just has a lot of energy and drive and motivation to just do a whole bunch of different things. I think she's pretty cool. She had a good relationship with, like, Sakura, and she, I don't know, she would make me mad, but, like, she would also just be someone, like, a normal person. Like, if she existed in real life, she's probably someone that I would choose to be around more so than a lot of these other characters. She was kind of grounded. She's almost more grounded as, like, than a lot of these other characters. She doesn't really have, like, an over-the-top personality that seems like it's not a real person. She seems like somebody that's, like, just very real and very, like, normal, like, sporty girl. I don't know. I thought she was cool, and I loved her final free time event in the bedroom where she asked Mukuro to pretend boyfriend with her, and I'm sure plenty of people either love or hate that, but I thought it was hilarious. And yeah, she's really funny, she's a little dopey, and she loves donuts, and so do I, so yeah, number 8, how about that? And coming in at number 7 is Sayaka, which I was very surprised when I immediately saw videos of, like, in defense of Sayaka or why Sayaka doesn't suck, and I'm just like, wait, people think that? And I guess people see the game a little bit differently than me, that even though she did, I guess, try and frame, you know, you as the protagonist for murder, I don't really see that as, like, a negative thing. Like, she's in a situation where she wants to get out. She was shown her, like, idol group, like, you know, passed out, maybe alive, maybe not, and she's just trying to get to the outside world, and she said that she'll literally do anything, and she did that, and I have no problem with that. Like, obviously it sucks for me, but, like, I think it's really cool to see played out, like, in the game. She was also just, like, really nice to Mukuro. I like that little bond that they had, and she, you know, she was kind of like, she seemed like she was very much like the popular, like, pretty girl, but she definitely seemed like she would make time for someone like Mukuro, who isn't really special in any way. I just found her really, really cool. She had that one conversation where she was thinking of, you know, hey, she's stuck inside the school and time is passing on the outside, and what if I'm forgotten about? It's just another one of, like, this is my talent. If I'm forgotten about, my talent isn't going to be useful. What do I do then? So there was just a lot of layers to Sayaka that I really, really liked, and I think it would have been amazing if she lasted even longer. And it really sucks that she was gone so first, but I thought it worked really well for the game to kind of hit you with, oh, Sayaka was, like, your closest friend, but also when it came down to it, she, you know, she was still trying to get out in any way possible. And I've also heard arguments that, you know, at the time that she did that, she didn't even know about, like, the class trial system, and, you know, maybe she thought that she would graduate and then everybody else would just be fine as well. So there's also that aspect to it that I've heard, which I don't really care that much either way, but I think she was never being fake. I think she was genuine about, like, you know, all of her feelings and things like that. I just really liked her a lot. I think she also has just a good design, a good, just, like, everything. I just really like her, and I don't know, that's all I got for her, I think. Now, just missing the top 5, coming in at number 6 is going to be Kyoko Kirigiri, the ultimate purple, the ultimate question mark, and ultimately the ultimate detective. I like Kyoko. I really am down for the characters that aren't overly emotional, and Kyoko is very much the opposite. She is logical and methodical in basically everything she does. She doesn't always tell us clearly the things that she is, but most of them make sense in the end. It was pretty cool seeing that, like, going through her sort of amnesia storyline, which, obviously all the characters had amnesia from, like, the 2 years, like, in the school, but, she didn't even remember, like, before that, and as she was kind of discovering, like, why she came to Host Peak, what her purpose was, and then wanting to confront her dad and then find out that her dad has been dead, and so, like, what does she do with that, because she wanted the closure. I just think there's a lot of interesting things to her character. I think her kind of discovering, like, what her purpose is was really cool, and I just like her personality and the fact that she's very much straightforward, though at the same time I guess she's not. She doesn't always, like, say, but she's not, like, emotional for the most part. She had that, like, one time where she was kind of being a little bit whatever towards Mukuro in a way that I didn't think made much sense, but besides that, I mean, she was great. She got in a garbage bag and got thrown down the garbage chute just to get us out of the basement, or out of the garbage pit basement, whatever. So I gotta respect that. So yeah, I think that's all I have for Kyoko. She's really cool. I like her a lot. So I struggled for a little bit as to what I want to do with this character, but starting off the top 5, at number 5 is going to be Junko Enoshima. You want to talk about an ultimate serial killer or ultimate psychopath. I mean, Junko's just literally insane. Like, all of the different personalities at the end that I think she just invents because she gets bored, like, super easily. I don't know. I just find her incredibly, like, hilarious and just weird and crazy, and something about just how literally insane she is. Obviously, being a video game character and not, like, a real person, I love seeing that sort of... I like seeing things that can't really be done in real life, like, done in a video game. The sort of personalities. Like, obviously, a person like this exists, I would stay very far away from them. But it happens in a video game, and yes, give me more. I also just like her design. I thought it was really cool. I like everything about her. I didn't really take into account too much of her, like, being Monokuma. I guess you could count that as being Junko the whole time, and so then there would be maybe even more to her character. And there's still, a few things I don't understand about her ultimate despairness or whatever. But I just know that she's really insane, and she was really, really fun during that last class trial. So that's enough to get her to number 5. I think I like insane characters. And speaking of insane characters, maybe not in the same way, my number 4 is Byakuya, which I had a lot of fun with in my playthrough of this game. He is someone who, he sucks, but he's great. I love to hate him. I love to love him. I don't know. He's just such a douche. He thinks he's better than everybody, but I mean, he's kind of proven that he's better than everybody. He had his backstory where he had to compete with 14 or 15 other brothers and sisters, and he came out on top in some unspecified battle royale something. Where he became the heir, but he also is able to make his own money and not just rely on the name. But yeah, he's got, like, this sort of arrogant douche thing going on, but some of it is, like, earned. Like, he hasn't really faced failure in his life, but that's not because anything was handed to him. Like, he earned it, which was cool. Sometimes, he got a little annoying, obviously sabotaging the second class trial, messing with Chihiro's body, and doing all that sort of stuff was just completely unnecessary. And then when Hina does it later, he's just like, the audacity of somebody else doing that. Like, how could you do that? When it's like, I mean, you did it too. And sometimes he would do that, where he would just have a completely wrong call, and then we or somebody else would just be, have to be like, no, this is actually what happened, and you would catch him off guard, and he's just like, no, that's impossible. But it is possible. Sometimes Byakuya's not the best, and I always had fun with him no matter what. Whether I was telling him he was great, whether I was telling him he was awful, he's just a fun character to have there, and definitely deserving of top 5 in some way, shape, or form. And number 3 is a character that I think is similar to Byakuya in a lot of ways, and that is Celeste. I really, really enjoy Celeste, and I do wonder if maybe I enjoy her more, because again, she didn't last through the whole game, so she had less time to either get in the way negatively or do something that I disliked, because she also has a sort of air of, I think I'm better than you, but I feel like hers is so much less earned, but I think I find that funnier. Obviously her design is, like, incredible and insane, like, that you don't see people, I mean, I guess you probably do see people like that in real life, but, like, she just does not seem like a student, right? Like she's just like, you know, this big like dressed up like we know whatever she's supposed to be. But yeah, this ultimate gambler, and her free time events were like, I don't even know if any of those things were true. You can't really believe a word that she says. She's very she very much takes like the game approach to the killing game, where she just wants to get out and she'll do whatever she has to. And I respect that as a character in a video game. I really like seeing stuff like that, as I sometimes just get a little annoyed at, you know, like the people that are like, oh, I can't kill my friends, whatever. And then if that's like their entire personality of like, I can't do this, it's interesting to see characters that are the opposite, that are like, oh, I can do that and I don't really care. And Celeste kind of tells you that she doesn't really care, and she'll do it, and she actually tries. And, you know, she gets caught, but respect the commitment, I guess. I like Celeste a lot. She's very similar, that you know, love to hate her, love to love her, but she just insults you less? Does she? I don't know. She also kind of insults you, but if you make it to the end of her free time events, you do become a C rank human, which I mean, that's pretty good for me. I don't know. I wouldn't mind being C rank. So that's Celeste. I don't know. I like her a lot. Number 2 is a character that I was surprised actually made it this high for me, but it is Chihiro. I am a huge sucker for usually a quiet, reserved character that is lacking in self-confidence and, you know, is working to overcome that. That is a character trope that gets me every single time. You can copy and paste it from one character to the next, and I will still end up falling in love with that character, because it's just something that I, you know, somewhat relate to in terms of, you know, growing up, like low self-esteem, whatever, all that sort of stuff. Especially with the quiet, reserved. I think there's a little bit difference to someone like Hifumi, who is just like very outwardly, you know, like a social outcast or whatever, based on his interest and like his personality. Whereas Chihiro is just like very quiet, reserved, and doesn't really know like the steps to take to really have the strength that he wants to get, and then like move past that. I was just reminded, and I think his design really helps as well, because he's so small, and like anytime you're nice to him, he just like his eyes just light up like he needs protected. Like I want to protect him, you know. He's just so like perfect in that way. I really enjoyed watching through his free time events and seeing him, what it sounds like he was basically developing like alter ego and kind of telling you about it. And then obviously alter ego, you know, helps you on later in the game. But like the ultimate programmer stuff is just really cool. And his sort of take, you know, obviously his take of, I want to be stronger, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to look like somebody who's weak until I figure out how to be stronger, is pretty cool. And he was taking the steps to try and really get that strength, which isn't quite, you know, he was starting to overcome that like self-confidence issue that he had. And I think the fact that he like almost got like a full arc, he almost overcame like the flaw that he had, is a lot better than some of these other characters that died before they got the chance to really overcome their flaw. So that's why I really like Chihiro. You take this character archetype, and I'm just going to fall for it every single time. I love this sort of character, and Chihiro needs protected, and I love when he smiles, and yeah, he's just the best. And of course, by the best, I mean the second best, because number 1 is Best Girl Sakura, obviously. Sakura is the greatest character in Danganronpa, maybe one of my favorite characters in video games in recent memory. I love that she is this giant, like, freak of nature, like, muscular girl in a school where, you know, most people, most of the guys especially, are just like, oh, girl, I wouldn't hit a girl, or oh, girls can't be strong, whatever. And Sakura's like, you sure about that? You sure about that? Have you seen Sakura? Like, she literally is like smashing that sort of notion of like, you know, what do you know about like strength, and like what strength should look like, and who can be strong and who can't be. Obviously, she has her backstory of her like dojo, whatever, and she wants to like fight for all like her family's like stuff, or all that sort of stuff. You know what I'm trying to get at. And I really liked her story with that, I forget his name, Kenshiro or something like that. The guy in that she was fighting to become stronger than, but he would beat her every time, and then he was like fighting his own sickness. And it really sucks that she sacrificed herself for the friends that she made inside of Hope Speak Academy, even though that she'd be sacrificing her chance to get out and really become stronger than that person that she really wanted to become stronger than. There's like a lot of layers to that. I also like, you know, she was the spy, so to say, but she didn't really do anything. She didn't go through with killing anybody. And then when the time came, she just basically decided she can't do it and sacrificed herself to advance, you know, to kind of send a message, but also, you know, it sent a message both to the mastermind, Monokuma, and whatnot, and also just to the rest of the students, her friends, as to, like, you know, fight, you know, because I can't fight alone or whatever. Everybody else should fight and do that. So I just love her entire storyline from start to finish. It's so good. It's so perfect. And yeah, Sakura is easily the best character in a cast of a lot of pretty good characters. So yeah, that is my ranking of all of the characters from Danganronpa 1. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this list. Let me know what your favorites and least favorites are, where I was wrong, all that sort of stuff. Make sure to like the video, subscribe for more content, and I will see you guys around. Peace.